Hello, I am Renise Etoa, and today I will be doing an interview for my DG201, and I am honored to have a very special person today who is a human rights defender in Solomon Islands and is an advocate not only in Solomon Islands but also in the Pacific. She is a very inspiring and strong woman, and it is a great pleasure to be with her today. Thank you for having me in your beautiful home. Can you introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about yourself?
Hello, my name is Savina Nongebatu. I am a mother of two. I'm also a grandmother, a granddaughter, and I am a woman with a disability. And I do a lot of work around disability inclusion and gender equality, especially for women with disabilities.
Can you explain what human rights you are defending?
So I am a disability inclusion activist or advocate. I advocate for the rights of persons with disabilities, and this is to anybody really, to the government, to any NGOs, to development partners, for the rights of persons with disabilities. And this means having people with disabilities having the same access as everybody else, be it education, employment, and whatever else that they want to do in their life.
I believe that it was not an easy road for you, and there may be some challenges you have come across. Can you describe some of the challenges you have experienced?
Yes, it's a challenging job, but I think it's also fulfilling. For a woman to be able to be out there speaking and raising awareness on disability, but also calling government and everybody else to recognize persons with disabilities and work with them in terms of going forward towards an inclusive society. There is not much support for persons with disabilities in the Solomons. And that is something that people like us continue to advocate for and to fight for.
Can you explain what is the role of a human rights defender?
I think for myself, to be honest, that's a new word, that's a new title that I've come across. But I think it's basically looking at a person, fighting for a specific community. Let's say for me, it's persons with disabilities and women and girls with disabilities. So I think as a human rights defender, I think I'm probably defending our rights as persons with disabilities. And also, in so doing, I also raise the issues that we have to government, to development partners, to whoever, and community is important as well. So I think that's basically what I've been doing.
How has your engagement in campaigns resulted in positive changes in Solomon Islands?
There have been positive changes. We now have younger women with disabilities who are working in offices, in government ministries, but also in the national disabled organizations we have here. It's called People with Disabilities, and I think it's a positive, because when I was doing a lot of this work, there was only a few of us, but now there are younger people doing it. So that's a good thing. But we also have, the government have policies now. So I'm hoping that these policies are implemented well for persons with disabilities, and that people with disabilities do actually enjoy the life that they want to live.
How do you think we as a community can support human rights defenders?
I think the community has a role to play. An individual belongs to a community. She or he belongs to a family. The family lives in a community. He or she grows in this community. And I think it's important for the community to also recognize that there are people within their community that need extra help. For example, people with disabilities. So there is a huge role for communities to play, because then in the communities you have churches, you have schools, you have hospitals or clinics, and these are places where people with disabilities usually do not have access. So I think it's the role of the community as well to make accessibility for persons with disability possible within the community.
How can we ensure dignity for all human beings, whether you're an able person or a disabled person?
I think we are born with equal rights. We believe we have equal rights. It's only when you're a person with a disability that you will see that your rights are not so much there. And there is this discrimination that people with disabilities, people like us, have to face. So, you have children that cannot go to school. People like me, cannot access some buildings because there's ladders. So I think the important thing here is for everybody, including the community, to be able to support the work, but also be able to understand what that support is, and for that individual as well as the community.
Seeing how far you have come, I really admire you for the strength you have shown, your determination and courage. You truly are an inspiration, especially for us girls. My final question before we finish is, can you describe some of the joy you have experienced in the defense of human rights that you are seeking to protect or promote?
I am optimistic, very optimistic. Like I said earlier, there's younger people doing this work. But increasingly, I think the government is also seeing and recognizing the needs of persons with disabilities. So slowly but surely, I think, stakeholders that are responsible for making life bearable for people, in this case, people with disabilities, are taking note. So accessibility is a precondition for inclusion. In anything to include persons with disability, you have to have access. And that's the important thing that needs to be done anywhere, really.
Well, Ms. Nongebatu, that concludes all the questions I have for this interview. Before we conclude, is there any final remarks you would like to say about your work as a human rights defender and advocate for the rights of people with disabilities in this nation, Solomon Islands?
It's a challenging journey, but one that is important to take, and I think I was called to do this work. So I have had many challenges, but I've also seen a lot of successes. So I think for people like me, we will always be advocating for the rights of persons with disabilities until the day we die, really. So yeah, I'm optimistic, and I think there's only positive development to come from here on in.
Thank you so much for your time and giving us permission to come to your home. I would like to wish you well in your future career as an advocate and human rights defender for people with disabilities.
Thank you very much, and all the best.